Want to take a girl out on a date? Better make sure you make enough money for two. Want to go camping? Good luck with North America's most notorious woodland cryptid that is known to target men. These are the top guy problems that girls don't have to deal with. Number 10. Zipper dangers. Girls have their own struggles with zippers, like trying to fit into a prom dress 10 years later. But for men, zipper problems are a lot more common and a lot more painful. Most men will have at least once in their life experienced the folly of zipping up their pants too fast, and it usually only takes once to make sure your zipper has full clearance. For people who don't like to wear underwear, the problem is doubly troubling. Every time you zip your pants up, you're flirting with the disaster. Guys probably get it, so let's spell it out for the ladies. We're talking about catching your dirty magic stick in the teeth of a zipper. It's steel jaws refusing to give it back. Most of the time, it's just the skin that gets zipped up by accident, but the zipper is always hungry for your pint-sized anaconda, and if you're not careful, it'll strike. This is especially true for uncircumcised folk who have a whole turtleneck flopping around to be concerned with. Next, we'll see how having to pee as a guy can sometimes lead to redecorating your entire bathroom. But first, number 9. Morningwood. Morningwood, waking up to find your beef whistle at full mast. Often, it's an annoyance. You probably have to pee really bad after waking up, and every guy knows you never pee with an erection. So you gotta wait a few minutes for your custard chucker to calm down. But sometimes Morningwood can lead straight to a disaster. It's not uncommon in some families for siblings to share a bed occasionally, like on road trips or when visiting relatives. Well, imagine having to wake up next to a family member, and you're as hard as the conviction that drives Simone Biles to be an Olympic champion. Wait, are you thinking of Simone Biles now? That's only gonna make things worse. But if you thought bordering on a Rule 34 territory was bad, imagine going to camp and having to deal with Morningwood. Or for those of you thinking about joining the military, have fun dealing with that as a drill instructor rushes you out of bed at 5 a.m. and expects you to immediately stand at attention. Well, at least you'll be halfway there. Number 8. Out-of-control fire hose. You were up late last night and crashed hard. So hard that you never woke up to pee even once. You're stepping into the bathroom still groggy with sleep. You pull your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pajamas down and prepare to do your thing, only to be met with immediate disaster. Pee sprays everywhere. First, it splits into 2 streams, one going in the general direction of the toilet and one aiming straight at the sink. Then as you panic and try to control your flow, it suddenly starts blowing everywhere like a kinked-up garden hose. In moments, your bathroom is now drenched in pee. It frequently happens after sleep, with part of the urethra being temporarily blocked. However, peeing with Morningwood or an erection in general can also distort the flow of urine, leading to an out-of-control fire hose effect. Peeing while standing up is pretty great. It's actually probably in the top 10 reasons for being a guy. Along with more rights, better job opportunities, less harassment, better pay. But take it from us ladies, we pay a high price for our unwarranted privilege, so be grateful for the superior plumbing of the vagina. What infamous woodland monster will kill you for being a guy? First, let's talk about the extreme stress of number 7. Approaching someone romantically. Recently, we came across a post on Threads that we really liked. If you don't know what Threads is, it's like Twitter or X, except it's not a seething cesspool of human waste. The post was from a girl asking for advice on how to approach a guy she thought was cute in public. The thought of it made her extremely anxious and nervous, and it was nice for the ladies to get a taste of the pain of being a guy. Quick, you see a girl that really gets your eye at the grocery store. What do? Maybe she's married, hard to see a ring sometimes. Maybe she has a boyfriend. Maybe she's in a bad mood and doesn't really want to be approached right now. Maybe her parents just died. Maybe she's not into guys. Maybe she just got out of a bad relationship and she doesn't want anything to do with you. Maybe she's a serial killer. Maybe she has gas and the last thing she wants to be is flirted with right now. There is a million reasons why your approach could be wholly unwarranted, to the point it's a miracle that anyone approaches someone in public anymore. But as the guy, you're expected to take all the risk of making the approach and the potential resulting humiliation or rejection. While we're at it though, guys, you need to start taking rejection without resorting to threats or insults. A big part of the reason women don't want to get approached is the way guys react to being rejected. Number 6. Paying for 2. Alright, so you managed to snag a date. Well, we hope you have a good job and can afford to pay for 2 from now on, because most people still expect a man to pay for the date, and not just the first date either. It's a cultural value that used to make sense about 70 years ago, when just over 30% of women were employed. Add in massive wage disparity between the sexes, and it made sense that if you approached a woman to take her out on a date, you were expected to pay. However, you could also buy a dinner for a nickel back then, and a house cost like $10. Today, a Burger King value meal can cost $20 if you upsize it and get a dessert, and your date is going to expect far more than Burger King. So budget about $30 for each person for dinner, plus an average of a $12 movie ticket per person, and then another $15 for snacks and drinks for each person. And by the end of a simple dinner and movie date, you're looking at a $114 bill. Today, over 60% of women are employed, so we think that the old cultural value of the man paying for everything needs to go the way of the dodo. Fellas, she might be pretty, but if she doesn't offer to pay for anything on a date, she's not the one. Remember, you're looking for a life partner, not to be someone's dad. If she's got a problem with that, refer her to any number of top-rated sugar daddy websites. Up next, being a man will get you straight up killed. Number 5. War. You know that thing that's been raging ceaselessly throughout all of human history? It's a very man-heavy profession. Women constitute between 15 and 20% of America's armed forces, making most military jobs a real beef-heavy stew. In 2013, restrictions on women in combat arms jobs were lifted, but that didn't exactly lead to an influx of new recruits. Combat arms jobs remain a total sausage party, just a bunch of bros hanging out, bringing democracy to people who definitely didn't ask for it. When national drafts come around, it's overwhelmingly men who are going to end up getting drafted. In the U.S., only men need to register for the Selective Service, though as the U.S. military faces recruitment problems, there is increasing discussion of drafting women next time the world wants to find out why the U.S. doesn't have affordable health care. But make no mistake, it'll almost certainly be a dude bro that you're hunkered down in a foxhole with during the Second Battle of Beijing. You don't have to go to war to face the risk of death as a man, because America's most notorious cryptid will target you for specifically being a man. But first, number 4. Balls suck. Hairy danglers, French coin purses, the old beanbag. We're talking testicles, balls, the dangly bits that hold everything that's evolutionarily important about you as a man, not so safely dangling outside of your body, protected by literally nothing but a millimeter of skin. What seems like a design bug is actually a feature, because your balls produce sperm, and those sperm would die from overheating if they were stored inside your body. So instead, they're located in a detached apartment, complete with its own climate control system to make sure they stay healthy. But dangly bits can be more of a pain than an asset. First, go ahead and have a seat. If you're a woman, you likely sat down without giving it much thought. However, every man has a microsecond of calculation where they determine the current location of their balls relative to their expected resting position once seated on the chair. Because if you miscalculate, you're in for a world of hurt as you settle your full body weight on one of your hairy berries. The fact that they're so exposed and unprotected is a danger in itself, but there's always the threat of some errant object smashing into your groin. And while it's not fun for women to get blasted straight in their cooch cannon either, it is a different world of pain for men. We're almost at the number 1 reason it sucks to be a guy. But first, number 3, emotional invulnerability. You just got your heart broken, or maybe experienced some big loss. Well, time to suck it up, buttercup, because there is nothing more pathetic than a crying man. This toxic attitude towards men is believed to play a very leading role in men exiting the chat early, as unrealistic expectations set upon them can lead to men feeling like failures for not being stoic enough to handle their own pain. It's most clearly evident in marriages that experience the loss of a child, where it's often expected the men will remain a rock for the grieving mother. But when friends and family are always asking how is she doing and never making a safe space for the man, this leads to serious problems. It's good to remember that there are 2 parents who lost a child, not just one, that men also have emotional hurts and a need to feel cared for. Fact is, modern society still looks down on men being emotionally vulnerable. So if you've ever craved a good cry or for someone to just stop and ask how you're doing, well, you better not be a man. Still want to be a man? Better be a stallion in the bed. Number 2, it sucks to be a man in the sheets. From print media to any number of TV shows, movies, and of course pornography, it's always the same scene. The man scoops up the woman and ravishes her, leaving her in a state of blissful ecstasy. But real sex is nothing like made-for-TV fantasies, and as a man, it's on you to make it enjoyable. Now first, let's point out that women have a pretty good reason to complain when it comes to sex. Men don't tend to be as in tune to the needs of their partners or simply don't care, with sex culminating after their orgasm. But we're not talking about that, we're talking about the expectation of how sex will be. and why it falls solely on the man. Men are expected to be sexual dynamos, and in the early stages of a relationship, this can cause real stress. How good it is, how closely it matches the last romance novel she read, even how long it is, all depends on you, the guy. The woman is largely expected to make the most minimum of effort. When sex is discussed outside of the bedroom, few people ever ask how the woman performed. The conversation is almost always centered on the man and the encounter judged on his performance. Alright, we made it at last to number 1. The absolute worst reason it sucks to be a guy. Number 1. Bigfoot will murder you. From native tribes in Florida all the way to the Pacific Northwest and even Alaska, one common theme runs true across most native oral histories. Bigfoot really hate men, and they will kill you. Native American oral tradition is rich with warnings that lone men should avoid coming into contact with the forest people, mostly due to their extreme aggression toward men. While these tribes say that Bigfoot often show a fascination with women and children, watching them from the tree line, their warning on how Bigfoot treat men is pretty stark. If they feel like it, they'll just kill you. This isn't very surprising given Bigfoot is likely just one of many relic hominids that we've shared the planet with, even in just the last few tens of thousands of years, close enough to humans to show some of the same behaviors. In tribal societies, strange children and women don't tend to be seen as a threat, but a man absolutely could be. So if you're camping in the woods and start hearing something bipedal in your camp, better hope you're not a guy, or you might end up in a new volume of Missing 411. Now watch why male puberty actually sucks, or click this other video instead.